The theme this year is Beyond Politics, Defining National Priorities. We are, of course, delighted to have each and every one of you here. In a nation's history, a year is but just a speck in the continuum of time. And yet, some periods stand out. Between the first edition, the inaugural edition of the Rising India Summit in March 2018, and now, India has been through some momentous transformations. India is now the world's sixth largest economy. It looks all set to become the fifth largest very soon. The Indian cricket team is on a roll. It has defeated for the first time Australia in a test series. So a big round of applause for that. But that's not the only thing. From 21 kilometers a day last year, today we are building national highways at more than 30 kilometers a day. The first indigenously built semi-high-speed train is now successfully running on India's railway tracks. India now also has Asia's second longest rail-cum-road bridge. Electricity has reached almost every Indian village, Sikkim has got its first airport, and India has got its first women fighter pilots. And that's not all. India has also leapfrogged more than 30 positions to the 77th position in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business rankings. And that makes India a more business-friendly destination. Now, while there's plenty for India to be delighted about, particularly in the last year or so, some of these accomplishments have been punctuated by dreadful incidents, like the dastardly terror attack that we saw in Pulwama a few days ago. We should be, and we are, acutely aware of the need to keep striving, to keep improving, to keep pushing every boundary that holds us back, and to be alive to all the lurking dangers that can derail India's rise. Over the next 20 sessions, you will get a chance to hear from some of India's finest political leaders, sportspersons, industry captains, entrepreneurs, entertainers, all of whose combined intellect and energy are powering India's rise. And later tonight, we will welcome in our midst the captain of this ship called India, the man who is steering our country in this remarkable period of our history, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, we begin proceedings by welcoming two very, very special guests. They are two of India's most prominent humanitarians, philanthropists, and spiritual leaders of our times, Sadhguru and Baba Ramdev. Sadhguru is the founder of the Isha Foundation, which he's ranked amongst the 50 most influential people in India right now. Sadhguru is a yogi, a mystic, a visionary, and of course a best-selling author. In 2017, he was conferred the Padma Vibhushan, accorded for exceptional and distinguished service. Probing and passionate, insightful and logical, but unfailingly witty, Sadhguru's talks have earned him the reputation of being a thinking man's guru. Can we have a round of applause for Sadhguru? Baba Ramdev is one of India's most popular gurus whose contribution to introducing yoga to the masses cannot be overemphasized. He can be seen on television every morning, of course, demonstrating supple yoga poses to thousands of people across the globe. He can also be seen jet-setting around the world, promoting the cause of healthy living. He has, just in the last few years, helped build Patanjali Ayurved Limited into a multi-billion-dollar corporation that produces and sells almost every household item. Can we have a round of applause for Baba Ramdev? And in conversation with the monk and the mystic will be poet, lyricist, author, and musician Prasoon Joshi. An advertising icon who's built mega brands, a writer who's been honored with the Padma Award, Prasoon Joshi has garnered glory at Cannes as well as several other world-renowned ad fests. His films like Rang De Basanti, Tare Zameen Par, Bhaag Milka Bhaag, and of course more recently Manikarnika have won several awards as also critical acclaim. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Sadhguru, Baba Ramdev and Prasoon Joshi for our inaugural session of Rising India titled The New Mantras for India.
Can I chant? Is it okay? Please? Is it okay? Jananam sukadham Maranam karunam Milanam maduram Smaranam karunam Kalavashadiha Sakalam karunam Samayadipate Akilam karunam. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Hi, I said good evening.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having us here. And it's really great to share a stage with Sadhguruji and Baba Ramdevji. I don't have to introduce these people to you, and but I would just tell you what is the nature of conversation we would like to do today. It's going to be more exploratory in nature. I feel a need to explain this especially because my last interview with the Prime Minister, a lot of people had various expectations. I'm not a journalist, first of all, make it very clear, I'm not a journalist. And my approach is more curiosity and also, well, I don't understand why the expectations at that interview was to, paint a negative image of India, our country, and our Prime Minister in foreign soil. I don't even understand the expectations, so it's beyond my understanding. And also, I think, we are becoming too negative and critical about everything today. I think somebody has to ask, झील में पत्थर ही पत्थर हैं, झील भूल चुकी है झील होना. झील में पत्थर ही पत्थर हैं, झील भूल चुकी है झील होना. अब कहां बची गौरैया की फुरफुर, हर कोई चाहता है चील होना. So I think it's time to ask everybody who's, I think we require constructive criticism, of course, for our growth. We never deny that. But I think it's high time in India we ask, भाई आप क्या करते हैं? आप क्या कर रहे हैं? What is your contribution? Because only criticism can't be your contribution. So on that note, I would talk to these two people here whom a lot of respect for.
You go to your garden to smell the flowers, not the manure.
Sadhguru and especially Babaji, योग और भोग दो अलग अलग चीजें समझते लोग. आम आदमी की जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है उसमें when we talk about योग ऐसा लगता है there is an inward journey, you are lonely, there is sadhana there is a certain concept of योग. योग का एक concept है.
वैसे
But-
राइट डेफिनेशन योग और भोग का बहुत कम लोगों को पता है। जो भी जीवन में साधन है, कोई भी किसी भी प्रकार की प्रॉस्पेरिटी है, बॉडी है, माइंड है, सेंसेस हैं, व्हाट इज विजिबल इन दिस यूनिवर्स, दिस इज कॉल्ड भोग। एंड सोल एंड सुप्रीम सोल, इनविजिबल पीस, हैप्पीनेस जो दिखता नहीं है वो योग है, और जो नहीं दिखता वो भोग है। इसलिए योग और भोग में कोई संघर्ष नहीं है। योग पूर्वक भोग होगा और उसका सही उपयोग होगा तो देश भी अच्छा बनेगा, राइजिंग इंडिया होगा।
बिल्कुल आपने अच्छा कहा, पर लोगों के मन में एक कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन, एक विरोधाभास दिखाई देता है कि when we look at Sadhguru riding a bike, flying a plane, playing golf, mentoring CEOs or collaborating with CEOs of the companies, they feel that because योग में तो ऐसा नहीं है. On the other hand, when they see Baba Ramdev, being someone who's discussed, and I've been in so many meetings where he is discussed as someone who's a strategic mind of how marketing should be done in today's India, and he's found an innovative way of doing it. And there is, of course, his company is a case study. So, ये कहाँ ये जो विरोधाभास है सदगुरु, अगर आप प्रकाश डालना चाहें इस पर, is there a contradiction at all, or there is none between this yoga and bhog?
Well, certain people think either yoga or the spiritual process or spirituality is some kind of a disability. That's their understanding, unfortunately. If spirituality is a disability, we should ban it immediately. Why practice a disability? Spirituality is a way of empowering yourself in such a way that we can enhance life to a point where other people will think it's superhuman. Because as life we have only two ingredients. There is time and there is energy. Time is rolling away for all of us at the same pace, we can't do nothing about it. Just because I am a yogi, I don't get 28 hours a day. I also get only 24. Many times I have tried to get 28, I get only 24. Time is rolling away for all of us. It is only the energy we can manage. Yoga is a way of mastering your energy in such a way that if you live for 10 years, it looks like you have been here for 100 years. That's the amount of work and activity you did. If one doesn't do this, then if they're not in yoga, in my understanding, they're just not interested in life, they're waiting for death. They may not realize that consciously, but that's exactly the situation, because they're letting time go by without enhancing their energies. Because the only way you can enhance your life is this, not by accumulations. By accumulations, your life is not enhanced. Maybe in other people's eyes you're enhanced. As a life, you are no way enhanced. Only by enhancing your energy, only by having mastery over this, do you have access and purchase into this life. Because time is not in your hands, it's just rolling away for everybody.
Sadhguru is, as we used to hear there, and you believe that, as they say, ten tyakten bhujji tha, tyagte hue bhog karo. Yeah, you
Don't throw me a Hindi googly, huh?
नहीं, अभी आपको हिंदी भी अच्छी आती है। अभी सदगुरु आज हिंदी भी थोड़ा बोलेंगे। आप लोग एक बार इनका ताली बजा के अभिनंदन कर दो। ये साउथ इंडिया में और फॉरेन में होते हैं तब इंग्लिश बोलते हैं, नॉर्थ इंडिया में आते हैं तो हिंदी स्टार्ट हो जाती है ऑटोमेटिकली। तो तेन तक तेन भुंजी था भोगा पुर्गार्थम दृश्यम यतो अभ्युदय निश्रेयस सिद्धि स धर्म। तो गुरुजी थोड़ा हिंदी भी बोलेंगे। बोलो तुम।
सो बाबा जी, आप भी बात कर रहे हैं, तो ये जो कहीं संन्यास से, सब कुछ छोड़ देने से, निवृत्ति से जो जुड़ गया हमारा देश, और जो प्रवृत्ति थी कि जीवन में कुछ करना है, वो उसको कहीं छोड़ दिया, ऐसा क्यों हुआ?
देखिए, पहले तो हमारे धर्म में, संस्कृति में, हमारे शास्त्रों में, हमारे इतिहास में हमने निवृत्ति और प्रवृत्ति में कभी भेद किया ही नहीं। बड़े बड़े सामाजिक, आर्थिक, धार्मिक, आध्यात्मिक साम्राज्य हमारे पूर्वजों ने कायम किए, और तभी ये देश विश्वगुरु जगतगुरु परम वैभवशाली था। हमने जब से कहा कि ब्रह्म सत्यम जगन मिथ्या, कि ये पैसा तो हाथ का मैल है, माया महाठगनी है, सारी माया काया और ये सारे ब्रह्मांड का ऐश्वर्य दूसरे लोग ले बैठे, और हमने दरिद्रता को धर्म समझ लिया। न तो ये धर्म है, न ये शास्त्र है, न ये इतिहास है। हमने हमेशा समृद्धि के गीत गाए हैं। ईश्वर, ऐश्वर्य से ईश्वर है, और ये सारी समृद्धि, दिस होल क्रिएशन, दिस होल विजिबल एग्जिस्टेंस इज द लाइव एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ ऑलमाइटी। ये सारा ऐश्वर्य तो भगवान का, तो भगवान जिस ब्रह्म की उपासना हम करते हैं वो भी ऐश्वर्य प्रिय है, इसलिए ऐश्वर्य का हमारे यहाँ पर कोई विरोध है ही नहीं।
पर आपने जब ऐसा ऑलमोस्ट इट लुक्स कि यू आर द वन हु ऑलमोस्ट इंट्रोड्यूस मासेस टू योगा, योग, और ऐसा लगता, क्या ऐसा हुआ हमारे अतीत में कि आम आदमी जब ये धरती जो है, इफ दिस, ये धरती जो है अगर योग की जननी है, तो यहाँ के आम लोगों के जीवन से योग दूर क्यों हो गया कि बाबा रामदेव को आना पड़ा उन्हें सिखाने के लिए?
हमारे यहाँ पर एक वर्ग विशेष था, वो चाहता था कि वो सारी चीज़ों को नियंत्रित करे। मैं जाति की विशेष की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, वैसे मैं सामंतवादी सोच के खिलाफ व्यक्ति हूँ। मैं ब्राह्मणों के खिलाफ नहीं, लेकिन ब्राह्मणवाद के खिलाफ हूँ। मैं क्षत्रियों के खिलाफ नहीं, लेकिन जो क्षत्रवाद के नाम पर राष्ट्रवाद परोसते हैं उसके खिलाफ हूँ। मीन्स एक ऐसा वर्ग हमारे देश में था कि धर्म, अध्यात्म, योग, वेद, संस्कृति, इसके ठेकेदारों ने योग को, आयुर्वेद को, वेदों को, अपने ज्ञान को एक तरह से गुलामी की बेड़ियों की तरह उसको जकड़ लिया कि हम ही इसके सर्वे सर्वा हैं। हमने कहा भगवान सबका है, भगवान का इस संसार सबका है, ज्ञान सबका है, योग सबका है, और ये विकास के अवसर सबके लिए हैं। और आध्यात्मिक दृष्टि से कहें तो हमें एक ईश्वर की संतान, एक पूर्वजों की संतान, एक धरती माता की संतान, सभी समान, सभी महान।
पर
तो बीच में कुछ लोगों ने एकाधिकार कर लिया था, वो एकाधिकार तोड़ना।
पर एकाधिकार में ऐसा तो नहीं लगता कि जातिवाद है? अगर आप एकाधिकार देखें तो अलीट का एकाधिकार तो मैं समझ सकता हूं, बिकॉज योग कहीं ना कहीं उनके जीवन से तो जुड़ा हुआ था। इन अ पैकेज फॉर्म दे वर कंज्यूमिंग इट। वो योग को योगा बनाकर एक्सेप्ट कर चुके थे, पर जो आम आदमी के जीवन से योग का जो उन अभाव हो गया, वो चला गया, वो क्यों हुआ?
I can,
यस
if this is something that's going on, wherever I go, people are asking this question, yogi is doing business, is it all right? Well, this is a rags to riches story, but still consciously remains in rags. How many people can do this? Huh? It's a total rags to riches story, but consciously remains in rags. That's not a simple story. We're missing the whole point. Sannyas means indiscriminate passion towards everything, but dispassion towards myself. If you have dispassion towards everybody, I think that's a crime. You don't care a damn about anybody, that is not sannyas, that's a crime. Indiscriminate passion towards everything and everybody, but dispassion towards myself, this is sannyas, not the other way around.
So you don't think, Sadhguru, that the yoga people were consuming was a kind of a pack before Baba Ramdev started his movement? The yoga which we knew about was a packaged yoga.
See,
It was kind of following the marketing principle of 3 days workshop and feeling that I have become a yogi.
There used to be an advertisement in California in the 60s. The advertisement goes like this: enlightenment. If you go to India, it'll take 12 years. Here, 30 minutes, $50, you can get enlightened, all right? So India's package was 12 years at one time. Ask any of them, if either Baba or me packages yoga, 12-year package for you, is there any takers here? This means they will negotiate with me. So, if you do not offer something that works in the times in which you live, you're a bloody fool, you're not a yogi, all right? So packaging is not because of our needs. Packaging is looking at the society, how they are today and what they can consume, what they can make use of. If I say my yoga is 12-year package, well, I will be the only one doing yoga. Well, today we've gotten people who are willing to do yoga for a lifetime. That is after some time. But initially how? So initial programs may be a weekend, but does it mean to say yoga will stop in a weekend? No. There are people who have dedicated their life to it, thousands of people. Not thousands, now it's running into millions. Millions of people dedicated for life. But on first day, if I tell them you have to dedicate your life to yoga and nothing else but yoga, you think there is anybody? So there is something called as upaya.
पैकेज में प्रॉब्लम नहीं है प्रसून भाई। योग तो हमारा बेसिक नेचर और हमारा कैरेक्टर है। योग हमारा मूल स्वभाव है। उसको कैसे लोगों तक पहुंचाना है, उसको सरलीकरण करके, सहज करके, साइंटिफिक वे में मुझे लगता है वहाँ तक पैकेज ठीक है। कोई यूँ कहे कि मैंने योग दिया है, ये गलत है। हम कहते हैं ये योग हमारा सदियों से, युगों से हमारे पूर्वजों की देन है। तो योग में अहंकार नहीं आना चाहिए, ये मेरा योग तेरा योग, यहाँ थोड़ी प्रॉब्लम आती है। योग एक यूनिवर्सल है, साइंटिफिक।
मुझे उसमें कोई आपत्ति नहीं है कि वो पैकेज हो, बट कहीं वो जो एसेंस है, जो मूल है योग का, उससे कहीं कट तो नहीं जाता पैकेज।
वो नहीं होना चाहिए, वो नहीं होना।
क्योंकि आपने कहा कि योग का अर्थ है कि उसको आपको जीवन में उतारना है। पैकेज से आप उतार तो नहीं पाएंगे।
पैकेज से इतना प्रयोजन यदि हो कि मुझे इतना ब्रीदिंग एक्सरसाइज, इतना मेडिटेशन, इतना सूर्य नमस्कार, इतना ये ट्रेडिशनल एक्सरसाइज, इतना मॉडर्न एक्सरसाइज, मान लीजिए कुछ भी कर रहा हूँ, उतना यदि वो पैकेज को समझता है तो ठीक है। नहीं तो ईच एंड एवरी ब्रेथ इज योगा, आवर नॉलेज, आवर इमोशन, आवर एक्शन, एवरीथिंग इज योगा। So there is…
Prasun, you are a wonderful poet, but did you learn poetry in the first grade? You learned ABC, isn't it? Alphabet. So when you go to first grade, if they teach you high level of poetry, you're gone, you'll not continue the school. So they taught you only A, I, E, like this. Today see that same A, I, E, where it's become? It's become Prasun Joshi.
Thank you, Sadhguru, for the compliment. Another question which comes up is spirituality for privileged class and dharma for masses? क्या धर्म masses की चीज़ है और spirituality जो है वो elite और privileged class की चीज़ है? क्योंकि इसमें मैं कहता हूँ, क्या है कि क्योंकि जब धर्म की बात आती है, क्या योग को किसी धर्म विशेष के साथ जोड़ने की वजह से या उसके रूट्स वहां पर होने की वजह से कई लोग लेंस से योग को देखते हैं, वो उसके गुणों से वंचित रह जाते हैं, उनको कहीं रेजिस्टेंस आ जाती है। तो ये और बट जो उसको स्पिरिचुअलिटी कहते हैं वो लोग इससे वंचित नहीं रहते हैं। सो कहीं ये जो डिस्टिंक्शन है कि मासेस में वो धर्म हो जाता है, धर्म का हिस्सा हो जाता है, और एलीट क्योंकि वो तो
क्लासेस में स्पिरिचुअलिटी,
एलीट इज वेरी स्मार्ट, एलीट इज सोर्स एग्नोस्टिक, जहां फायदा दिखाई लेता है वो कुछ नाम रख देते हैं उसका, अब रिदमिक कार्डियक ब्रीदिंग करके उसको ले लेते हैं, कहते हैं इट्स रिदमिक कार्डियक ब्रीदिंग, टेक इट, इट इज सो देयर, दे डोंट, उनका कोई डिसएडवांटेज नहीं, पर मैं मासेस का देखता हूं उसमें कहीं कुछ लोग वंचित रह जाते हैं। डू यू थिंक दैट लिंकिंग योग विद अ रिलीजन it should be agnostic?
See, we need to understand this. This idea of a sectarian religion is an imported idea for us. We've still not come to terms with it. Because in this culture, we had no religion. We never had and we still don't have. We're trying to pretend we have, but we're struggling with it. Because religion means the fundamental definition. The requirement for you to be religious is, you must believe something. You must have a set of few beliefs, 5, 10, whatever. Spiritual process means you're a seeker. You're a seeker means the fundamental qualification is you have realized that you do not know a whole lot of things about life. You are at least straight with life. What you do not know, you are seeing as I do not know, that's how you become a seeker. Whatever you do not know, you make up one story and believe in it, that is religion. That is not the nature of our nation. This nation is a land of seekers. Even when so-called divine entities came, they could not give us commandments of any kind. All they got is questions. Shiva opened his mouth to his beloved wife she freaks him with questions. Krishna, after many years of waiting with somebody who is very intimate friend, at the edge of a battlefield tries to say something, that guy has 100 questions. Tell me, who has been able to give a commandment and say, this is it? That is not our nation. Here, we are a land of seekers. We identify, we understand the intelligence of ignorance. We understand, I do not know is the greatest possibility in our lives. The moment we see I do not know, the longing to know, the seeking to know and the possibility of knowing becomes a living reality in our lives. But if you destroy I do not know with a set of belief systems, that is what you call as religion. We don't know what that is. You're talking about in the rural areas or in the underprivileged people, they are more religious than spiritual. You do one thing, I'm sure you've been, if I go to any village, remote villages, people come there and they don't ask, give me a golden horse or something, never. They'll say, "Ayya, mukti kudungaya." First thing they say, I want liberation. Is this spiritual or religious, I'm asking? You just go to any village, talk to people, if somebody looks like me, they'll say, we want mukti. They want freedom. They want freedom from everything. They don't want a ticket to heaven. They don't want to go and sit in God's lap. They don't want pleasures up there. They want liberation. This is the spiritual process. The entire country is soaked in it. Now we are systematically trying to destroy this, unfortunately. But the real ethos of this nation is we are a land of seekers. We must keep it that way, because in seeking there is no conflict. Only in believing there is a conflict. The moment you believe one thing and I believe something else, we've already started the conflict.
बाबा जी आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
देखिए, भारत की भूमि पर धर्म और अध्यात्म दोनों को एक ही माना गया है। जीवन का जो श्रेष्ठ आचरण है उसी को धर्म कहते हैं। धृति क्षमा दमोस्त्यम शोचम इंद्रिय निग्रह धीर विद्या सत्यम अक्रोध शकम धर्म लक्षणम श्रूयताम धर्म सर्वस्वम श्रुत्वा च अवधार्यताम आत्मनः प्रतिकूलानि परेशान न समाचरेत यतो भृत निश्रेयस सिद्धि स धर्म। भारत में नैतिक उच्च आदर्शों को, जीवन के श्रेष्ठ मूल्यों को धर्म और अध्यात्म एक ही नाम दिया गया। विदेश की धरा में क्या हुआ, जब इंग्लिश में ट्रांसलेशन किया तो रिलीजन एंड स्पिरिचुअलिटी वहाँ उल्टा पुल्टा कर दिया। भारत के दो शब्द हैं, एक मत पंथ संप्रदाय, किसी गुरु विशेष, किसी संप्रदाय विशेष में एक परंपरा विशेष है, पूजा पाठ की अलग अलग प्रकार की ट्रेडिशंस हैं, उसको मत पंथ कहते हैं। धर्म शाश्वत तत्व है, इसलिए भारत में धर्म और अध्यात्म अलग नहीं है। हाँ, विदेशी लोगों की नज़रों में दो अलग जरूर हैं, लेकिन वहाँ पर भी जब उनको अपने आप को बचाना होता है, ट्रंप दो बाइबल पर हाथ रख करके शपथ खाता है। ये सारी दुनिया अलग अलग प्रकार की चीजों पर चलती है। बाइबल को कोई दुनिया में क्रिटिसिज्म नहीं कर सकता, कुरान का कोई दुनिया में क्रिटिसिज्म नहीं कर सकता। यहां वेदों का और ऋषियों का क्रिटिसिज्म करना लोगों का फैशन बन गया है। एक गैंग बना हुआ हिंदुस्तान में जो अपनी संस्कृति का विरोध करने में गौरव अनुभव करता है।
तो ऐसा क्यों यहां पर, इसका कारण क्या है?
1835 में मैकाले ने इंडियन एजुकेशन एक्ट बनाया। उसने देखा कि पूर्व पश्चिम उत्तर दक्षिण पूरा भारत घूमा, मुझे कोई गरीब आदमी दिखाई नहीं दिया, कोई भिखमंगा दिखाई नहीं दिया। इस भारत की संस्कृति, सभ्यता और इस भारत का ऐश्वर्य बहुत महान है। इसको तोड़ना है तो इनको फॉर्मल एजुकेशन दो और इनका जो स्पिरिचुअल एजुकेशन है, इनका जो मूल धर्म है, मूल संस्कृति है, उससे इनको विमुख कर दो। वो षड्यंत्र अभी तक चल रहा था। लगता है अब दिन बदलेंगे और मैकाले की शिक्षा पद्धति के स्थान पर भारतीय शिक्षा पद्धति का आविर्भाव होगा और शायद बहुत जल्दी एक भारतीय शिक्षा बोर्ड भी बनेगा। थॉट प्रोसेस चेंज होगा, ब्रेन की प्रोग्रामिंग चेंज करनी पड़ेगी।
लेकिन एक चीज आती है यहाँ पर, सदगुरु आपसे भी पूछूंगा।
Say something on that.
Yes.
See, why this criticism? Because we've never been shy of criticism. We thought criticism means we are getting help from other people's intelligence of things that we have missed out. But now the criticism is very malicious criticism. It's not of doubt, it's of suspicion. Doubt is a very positive thing, doubt is a very healthy thing, without this we will not grow. But right now, everything is suspicious, anything that's Indian is suspicious. Well, this is a very sick kind of situation. But criticism is not come to us new, we have encouraged it. We always encourage doubt, we always encourage questioning. Questioning is… we are not averse to questioning. There are many ways to deal with questions. Even the divine entities, as I said, they were asked questions and questions, they answered elaborately. But in various cultures, they have found other way to answer questions. Just kill the questioner and the question is gone.
एक दूसरे शब्दों में मैं ठेठ हिंदी भाषा में कहूँ, तर्क तथ्य युक्ति प्रमाण से, वैज्ञानिक दृष्टिकोण से, साइंटिफिक टेम्परामेंट के साथ किसी सत्य को तथ्यपूर्वक खोजना ये सही है, लेकिन झूठ बोल बोल करके, चिल्ला चिल्ला करके और सच को झुठलाना ये गलत है।
बाबा जी, जब साइंटिफिक टेम्परामेंट की बात आती है, आई हैव नोटिस्ड इन बोथ ऑफ यू कि आप जब कोई चीज़ को एक्सप्लेन करते हैं, देखिए ईस्ट एक तरह से सोचता रहा है, भारत की सोच एक तरह से रही है, हम द वे वी प्रोसेस थिंग्स इज़ वेरी डिफरेंट। हमने अनुभूत सत्य को ज़्यादा महत्व दिया यहाँ पर, लेकिन मैंने ये महसूस किया है, ये मेरा ऑब्जर्वेशन है कि आप भी साइंटिफिक एक्सप्लेनेशंस का सहारा लेते हैं। और सदगुरु, यू ऑल्सो फील इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर योर ऑडियंस टू साइंटिफिकली एक्सप्लेन व्हाट यू हैव सेड। If we are about a very different kind of wiring, if we process things differently, and we talked about अनुभूत सत्य जिसे कहते हैं, felt truth, and like जड़ी बूटियों की बात थी, वो बार बार एक्सपेरिमेंट करके उसकी गंध से, उसका एक डिफरेंट प्रोसेस है। Why do we want to prove everything? Why do we want this stamp from a scientific temperament, which is, see, आयुर्वेद में भी वेद जुड़ा हुआ है, लेकिन the scientific temperament we call, the scientific thinking which has come from the Western world, why do we want to always justify and put a stamp of that before we consume something? Did we consume in a civilization everything which is our knowledge today like that? Or why have we started doing that we need everything to be scientifically
और
proved?
साइंटिफिक होने की स्टैंप हमको फॉरेन से, अमेरिका से या यूरोप से लेने की जरूरत नहीं है,
पर हम ले रहे हैं।
ज्ञान हमारा भी है, हम उसका विरोध नहीं करते। हमने भी 500 साइंटिस्ट रखे हुए, वर्ल्ड का सबसे बड़ा योग आयुर्वेद पर बेस्ड रिसर्च सेंटर हमने बनाया है। लेकिन एक बात है, हमने खेती के प्रति वैज्ञानिक दृष्टिकोण रखा है। आज सारी दुनिया कह रही है ऑर्गेनिक एग्रीकल्चर, ठीक है, हमें यहाँ पर इजराइल से भी कुछ लोग आए हुए हैं, बाहर से भी कुछ लोग हैं, अब इंडिया में भी चर्चा हो रही है। वैज्ञानिक खेती, वैज्ञानिक शिक्षा, वैज्ञानिक चिकित्सा, वैज्ञानिक समाज व्यवस्था, हर जगह हमने ज्ञान और विज्ञान, मनुष्य का विकास और मनुष्य के लिए विकास, दोनों को साथ साथ लेकर के चले हम। इसलिए भारत विज्ञान विरोधी देश नहीं रहा है, लेकिन हमने दोनों चीजों को एक साथ साधा है कि मनुष्य भी बचे और मनुष्यता भी बचे। बस यही अंतर है। प्रायोरिटी हम किसको देते हैं? हम दोनों को प्रायोरिटी देते हैं। वो केवल प्रॉस्पेरिटी को प्रायोरिटी देते हैं, हम कहते हैं प्रॉस्पेरिटी विद स्पिरिचुअलिटी।
So Sadhguru, you would like to say anything about this scientific, always seeking scientific approval? I am not against it. I am a physics graduate, so I myself feel science has a big role to play. But there are a lot of things we earlier consumed at the level of, जिसे कहते हैं, you have yourself said that beyond 5 senses there is something else which I can't touch and feel, and 5 senses are incapable of. But then we again go back to proving it so logically. Why do we need? Is it that we are trying to satisfy a need out there by doing that? And if we don't get that approval, we would not survive as a civilization?
That's not the point. When you speak to somebody, whoever it is, if you speak to a child, you speak one kind of language. If you speak to an adolescent, you speak one kind of language. You speak to a more mature person, you speak another kind of language. Why? Because the fundamental of communication is to communicate, to touch the other person. So you approach the other person where he or she is. You don't talk something over their heads. What is the point of that kind of talking? Well, When we're talking to larger crowds, we are trying to logically explain and give them references to so-called science which keeps changing every 2 years. But there's a whole lot of other group. I don't do anything, if I just go sit there and close my eyes, they will all burst. Not a word is said. So, not everybody is spoken to the same way, because the purpose of speech is to communicate, and what is the point of speaking in a way that nobody understands?
Sadhguru, that brings me to see all of the people who I've met about both of you, they feel that there is something exceptional in both of you. Now, how much is this by design and how much is divine intervention? Now, I just read a few lines. बीज में सब कुछ लिखा है, इट्स ओल्ड पोएम ऑफ माइन, कि बीज में सब कुछ लिखा है, एक पुड़िया में मेरा अस्तित्व सारा है समाया, एक पुड़िया में मेरा अस्तित्व सारा है समाया, मेरे कंकर में लिखी है पर्वतों सी मेरी काया। बीज में सब कुछ लिखा है। क्या समूचा वृक्ष कोई योजना है? क्या समूचा वृक्ष कोई योजना है? क्या धड़कते अंकुरों की राह तय है? स्वप्न पर भी है नहीं अधिकार मेरा, ना पराजय है मेरी ना ही विजय है। बीज में सब कुछ लिखा है। प्रेम की बारीक रेखा में बसा उन्माद भी तय, हर्ष की बूंदों में सोया एक तृण अवसाद भी तय। खिलखिलाऊं तो लगे यह कर्ज था मुझको चुकाना, गुनगुनाऊं तो लगे यह फर्ज था मुझको निभाना। बीच में सब कुछ लिखा है। जब कभी आरंभ और गंतव्य सटकर बैठते हैं, बीज कोई जन्म लेता है नयनमल, और वहां से छूटकर जब प्राण अंकुर फूटते हैं, चेतना विस्तार लेती है उसी पल। बीच में सब कुछ लिखा है। जब से ये सोचा है मैं भयभीत सा हूं, एक गिरवी शब्द सा हूं, गीत सा हूं, लेखनी चलती मगर लगती पराई, बांसुरी ने है गणित से मात खाई। बीच में सब कुछ लिखा है। जिंदगी अभिव्यक्ति भर है, बस मुझे इसका ही डर है। बीच में सब कुछ लिखा है। इज दैट what you are doing destined, or you are thinking and you are building, you are designing? If you are building and designing, what is about the legacy? You are great souls, but you are in body. इस बॉडी का क्षरण होता है, शरीर के बाद क्या रह जाता है? आप लोगों के जाने के बाद इस परंपरा को, इस काम को आपको कैसे लगता है आगे ले जाया जाएगा? क्या हमको एक महामानव के अवतरण की फिर से प्रतीक्षा करनी पड़ेगी?
अभी जल्दी जाने का प्लान नहीं है।
बट अभी हम धरतीवासी हैं, स्वर्गवासी नहीं।
ऑफ कोर्स यू डोंट बिलीव इन वंशवाद। आप वंशवाद में यकीन नहीं रखते, तो फिर आपका काम कैसे आगे बढ़ेगा?
इसलिए हमने वंश कोई बढ़ाता है तो 2-4 पैदे करने में निपट जाता है। हमने सैकड़ों सन्यासी तैयार किए हैं, सदगुरु ने तैयार किए, जो साइंटिफिक सन्यासी हैं। और अभी बीच में सब कुछ लिखा है। एक तरफ राइजिंग इंडिया भी है, तो बीच में पुलवामा भी हो जाता है। एक तरफ हम समृद्धि की बात करते हैं, दूसरी तरफ जातिवाद आ जाता है। ओबीसी की, दलितों की, मुसलमानों की, किसानों की एक फौज खड़ी हो जाती है। देश कैसे आगे बढ़ेगा? इसलिए राइजिंग इंडिया का यह भी एक प्रश्न है। हमारे बाद तो एक बहुत बड़ी जमात खड़ी है इस धर्म अध्यात्म और इस देश की इस सांस्कृतिक परंपरा को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए। देश को आगे लेकर के कौन जाएगा? राइजिंग इंडिया का यह भी एक प्रश्न है। और योग राष्ट्र की परंपरा है, लेकिन युद्ध पूर्वक ये योग सुरक्षित रहा है। तो राइजिंग इंडिया में अब आगे बहुत कुछ सोचना पड़ेगा।
आपने राइजिंग इंडिया की ही बात की, तो भारत का लक्ष्य क्या है? भारत किस ओर जा रहा है? आज का भारत जो है, सदगुरु और आप प्रकाश डालें इस पर, या बाबा जी आप, कि आपके हिसाब से आज का भारत जा किस ओर रहा है? उसका लक्ष्य है क्या?
देखिए, कुछ लोग यहाँ पर अहिंसा के नाम पर कायरता के गीत गाते हैं और वीरता को गाली देते हैं, लेकिन जब पुलवामा हो जाता है तो दुबक करके गैंग बैठ जाता है। अब मैंने कहा कि योग पूर्वक युद्ध करो और पाकिस्तान जो नापाक हो गया उसको शुद्ध करो। क्रांति पूर्वक शांति होती है, बिना क्रांति के शांति कभी स्थापित नहीं हुई। भगवान राम को, भगवान कृष्ण को, भगवान शिव को, हमारे पूर्वजों को, आचार्य चाणक्य, चंद्रगुप्त को युद्ध करना पड़ा। मैं ये नहीं कहता हूं कि निर्दोष प्रजा को मारो, लेकिन पाकिस्तान जिसका प्रधानमंत्री नापाक है, नपुंसक है। माने ऐसा व्यक्ति जो कठपुतली है सेना की और आतंकवादियों की, उसे क्या उम्मीद करोगे? इसलिए भारत को अपने आत्मरक्षा खुद करनी पड़ेगी और इस देश को संप्रभुता, इस देश की इज्जत बनाए रखने के लिए पूरी दुनिया हमारी तरफ देख रही है। भारत एक कायर देश है, इसको कोई कुछ भी कर सकता है। इसलिए आज हमको अपने पूर्वजों की राह पर चलते हुए, हम शांति के उपासक हैं, लेकिन कोई हमारी तरफ आंख उठाएगा तो हम उसकी आंख निकालना भी जानते हैं। ये राष्ट्र के नेता को, मोदी जी को सोचना पड़ेगा और इस देश को आगे ले जाने के लिए कुछ बड़े कड़े कदम उठाने पड़ेंगे।
तो मोदी जी के लिए संदेश दे रहे हैं आप?
हाँ, मोदी जी आ रहे हैं ना अभी।
सदगुरु, आप say.
Well, if you say बीज में सब कुछ लिखा है, unknowingly we are becoming racist, casteist, because this is what they've been propagating. Your very seed is right or wrong. The significance of being human, is this. For every other creature on this planet, nature has drawn two lines within which they must live and die. Their entire life process is within those two lines. The significance of becoming human, evolving to becoming a human being means the top line has been removed. Only the baseline is there, top line is not there. You could become whatever you want. To an extent, which if people who think they are scientific, they can come and study if they wish. We will do certain things with people where the genetic characteristics that are there in them, within a matter of few days or weeks, you will see genetically they are a completely different people. This is what sannyas means actually. When somebody takes sannyas, one thing they do is, even if the parents are alive, they will do karmas to distance themselves from genetic memory. So the very genetic structure of who we are can be altered. So बीज में सब कुछ नहीं लिखा है.
But you can program a beach today. You can program
Yes,
that also.
That is not the point. The point is, once you have become human, you have transformed, this life has transformed from just being a physical entity for which there may be a seed as a source, to, for us, for an animal, this body is everything. For a human being, this body is just a platform upon which we can play the game. So what kind of game is entirely decided by us and nobody but us. This is why this culture, forever, this must be understood. This is not a culture which believed there is a manager sitting up there and managing your life. This is a culture which always told you your life is your karma. Your life is your karma means your life is your making, entirely your making. The way you are living, the way you're breathing, the way you're existing, the way your destiny shapes up is entirely your making. This is the power of yoga, this is the power of spiritual process, that you, instead of being an accidental being, you become a conscious being and create your life and destiny the way you want it.
Sadhguru, what Babaji touched upon, the fact that when something like Pulwama happens, I think initially we have a lot of outrage against it, and gradually from being victims, we start feeling guilty or an oppressor. And a lot of complexities come in, and it seems a very fuzzy view after that, and a nation feels very confused what should be their reaction to terror. You know, is it that India has survived for so long as a civilization that we have become very convenient? Have we become convenient as a civilization to take a decision? Have we lost a certain spine to, and we always calculate that somehow I should survive, somehow, but I should not take a stand what right or wrong, or I should not declare my intent. Is it that we discuss too much and we can never take a resolve? Either ways, whichever way we feel, it should be the right way. And to your mind, what is the solution if that is the state of India today and the complexities which we live in? So what would be the solution in the case of a terror attack like this, where we have an outrage in the beginning and then we start from victim, we start feeling guilty? What is this syndrome?
Say, the problem is right now, you're referring to we're taking Pulwama as an example, you're calling this terror. But I want you to understand this. This is a planned agenda. This is not terror as far as they are concerned. They are trying to fulfill their goals in a very planned way. They did not even keep it a secret. They told you, we will bleed you with 1,000 cuts. So it is not terror, it is an agenda that they're fulfilling. They're doing what they believe is the right thing to do. Because if somebody is willing to die for something, obviously they believe strongly enough to die for it. So they're doing what they believe is the right thing to do. Now, from your standpoint, are you doing the right thing that is good for this nation is something you must decide. There is no need to get excited about this, there is no need to… you just get some satisfaction by labeling somebody a terrorist. I want you to understand, somebody is working, life or death, they are working for their agenda. What the hell is your agenda? Spell it out to yourself and act upon that.
But what is it?
Well, for over a century, we fought for the independence of this nation. To make this nation free, we worked for over a century. A lot of life was sacrificed. Due to lack of vision, we sacrificed many more after we got our independence in the name of partition. Now, with one partition, you have seen 1 million people, over 1 million people dead and over 15 million people crossing borders from both sides, suffering. Human suffering is human suffering for me. It doesn't matter which side it's happened. So people have suffered, and in 70 years, still a whole lot of them are still not even settled on both sides of the border. And how is it that we have such a short sense of memory that we can once again talk of another break? So we must decide this. In my heart is very clear. First one thing is, make it clear to all the Indians what is India and what is not India. Please do this. Don't keep the ambiguity continuing forever. Just 100%, this is our country, this is not our country, let us focus on what we need to do for the well-being of these people, rather than going on endlessly debating, where is the border? How long will you debate? 2 generations of people are gone after independence and still you're debating the same thing. This is the time. If nation's consciousness is somehow awakened because of a shocking incident, please make up your mind now and work for that goal, because the sovereignty of the nation is important. For me, within my heart, well, it would be fantastic if we lived here as global citizens and we're capable of embracing each other and living here wonderfully, that would be fantastic.
What would be your message to the government?
I'll come. But we have not come there. Still, nation is the largest human entity you can address. If you want to address human well-being, you can only address it as a nation. You cannot address it as a globe. We don't have the mechanics to do such a thing. So, this nation, over 1.3 billion people, is a world by itself. So if we want to take these people towards fulfillment of their lives in this generation, the most important thing is we decide in terms of geography what is our nation, what is not our nation, and what do we stand for this. So protecting this is our business and our duty. Unfortunately, if cruel things happen, they happen. It is not our intent. I am not even talking about retribution, revenge, no, this is not our nature. But solution for this nation is important. That people of this nation can prosper is an important duty that the leaders of this nation owe to every citizen in this country. For that, it is very important that our borders are quiet, because the service and sacrifice of our soldiers is the basis. It is upon that foundation that you write your poetry, I do my spirituality, he does his yoga, somebody does his business. For all this, the basic foundation is the stable situation in the country. If we don't create that, we are failing in our fundamental duty, we are not being peaceful, we are just being naive.
All right, thank you very much to Sadhguru and to Baba Ramdev. On that note, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we've had to wind this one quickly, but thank you very much. Can we have a round of applause for Sadhguru and Baba Ramdev and for Prasoon Joshi for this fascinating conversation on mantras, for a new India. Thank you very much.